Welcome to another episode of Lucky Boys Podcast. I'm Will.
I'm Norm. And we have
Kenny.
an awesome, amazing guest, a real OG, Kenny Yu.
He kind of introduced himself a little bit. He's quick to jump the gun, but it's his
Yeah.
first podcast. We're really excited to have him on the show today. He is actually affiliated with us. We knew each other for quite amount of years. Haven't stayed in touch until we heard a Facebook update about Kenny, who is 42 years old, and he entered the workforce. I'm sorry, I gotta put.
You got to bring him up. You got to bring him
I
up.
have to. You know what it is? He did what so many of us been dreaming about for the longest, and he is retired at the age of 42. He's been
Yes,
in the
I am.
workforce for 20 years. Can you tell us how the heck did you do it, man?
I was telling Norm earlier, it wasn't planned. So, when I entered the workforce, it wasn't like I was thinking, hey, I want to retire by a certain age. For me, it was just a series of responsible decisions that kind of gave me the option to retire early.
So I guess when you entered the workforce, I guess you were obviously able to put some money aside.
That's it. Yep.
And when you started seeing that number grow and the zeros add on to the account, you started going, wait a minute, I might be able to stop working at a certain amount of age, at a certain amount of time. And so when was that? When did that actually come? Was it in your 30s?
I would say probably in my 30s when I paid off my first apartment.
Oh, wow.
I realized
Totally paid off.
Wow.
Wow.
Can we know how much you were making?
I would say 125 maybe.
125. Now, just for, that's good, but that's not a lot for New York City.
So one of the things I wanted to cover on this is that most people, when they think early retirement, they think I need to make a lot of money.
Right.
And really, that's only half the equation, right? The other half of it is how much are you spending, right? Because the difference between how much you spend and how much you earn is how much you save, and that's the key number.
That's the key numbers. How much the bottom line, how much you're willing or able to put away.
Correct.
Every month.
Correct. So, while all of my peers were out partying and rocking the latest labels and driving the latest whips, for me, the material world never appealed to me. I value skills and experiences. So for me, I always want to acquire new skills and I want to try new experiences. I didn't care about having the latest threads or, having the new iPhone, right? I'm retired. I'm still rocking an iPhone 7.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of people, when they first get a taste of money, they just want to spend.
Yeah.
They want to enjoy the finer things. For me, I still live like I'm in college.
Man, you know what? That sounds very easy, right? To not fall into it's like when I hear someone say, "Hey, if you want to get skinnier, just stop eating so much," right? If you want to save money, stop partying so much, stop being so materialistic. How did you get in that type of mindset? That's not easy. You make it sound very simple, and it probably was for you because your ability to do that and your motivation was probably so off the rails to be able to do that in 20 years at 125 average. How?
So a lot of that comes back to my childhood. So when I was growing up, I was poor, right? And my dad had a gambling problem. So my mom had to hold down the household. She had to pay all the bills. My dad would, when things were good, he would contribute to the income. But when things were bad, it was all my mom.
Right.
So for me, I was used to, all my friends had the Nintendo. I was still rocking an Atari.
Yeah.
I was always behind in terms of having the latest and greatest. Yeah. So I kind of got used to it. To me, it didn't matter, right? Like my friends didn't look down on me, right? I was their friend, right? We go out and play ball. It's about your skills, right? It's not about your sneakers,
Right.
right? So I kind of grew up accustomed to not having the best of everything.
Right. So you didn't fall into that trap way early in
Exactly.
life. You had those lessons, those hard lessons,
Right.
and said, you know what, I know better, so I'm gonna do better.
So, and the other motivation for me was when I was very young. I started working. I started washing dishes at my father's restaurant, and I saved my paychecks knowing that, hey, my dad one of these days is going to have a bad streak, and my mom's going to have to take care of everything,
And you're gonna have to be the man.
and I need to help her. I don't want my mom having to suffer as much. So I put away my paychecks, and you know what? When I was 17, I remember when I turned 18, I worked 4 consecutive summers, and I saved those paychecks. I had $4,000 saved. I put that into a mutual fund as an emergency, emergency fund for my
Right.
mom.
Right.
I still have that money. I still have that mutual
Wow.
fund.
I gotta give you some.
Wow.
Take care of mama, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that was my motivation.
And that's crazy at an early age. I mean, how many of us can really forecast that type of mentality at such a young age, right? To go, we're able to have that outlook and go, you know what, mom might need this one day.
Yeah.
And hopefully we don't have to do that as children, you know, that we don't have to be put in a position where our parents are struggling so much. We're thinking one day when it's, when winter hits, you know, when we're going to have to put all these nuts away. I mean, that's not too many kids think like that. You know, they play the victim and you said, fuck you. Man, that's, you're a tough boy, man. That's,
I'm also impressed the fact that you saved that money and had the foresight to say, like, you know, you're 17 years old, you put it in a mutual fund. I don't think I was even thinking about a savings account at 17.
No
I was
way,
making
man.
I was making money. I was making good money at Old Navy, and I was saving it, but then I was putting it under my my pillow. You know, I didn't think about the concept of saving and a bank with the interest rates. So how did how did that come into
how did you have
the
that
knowledge?
financial awareness?
Yeah, awareness.
You know, I don't really know about that. I think, you know, some people have natural talents. For me, math was always very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding financial concepts to me came very natural. You know, I was also a finance major in college.
Right.
So that gave me a lot of additional knowledge.
Okay.
But I don't do that for a living.
Right.
So-
You did software sales, right? In consulting.
I did software implementations.
And that required a lot of travel. It was very time consuming.
Yes. It was a lot of long hours, and that's why I quit or I retired, because for me, I was putting in 12, 13-hour days, and, you know, it drains you. It drains
Absolutely. That's a lot of wear and tear on you physically and mentally.
you. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you really, really have to fight in order to not just let your 9 to 5 or your 12, 13 hour. For you, it's like 7 to 7,
Yeah.
right? And you really have to not let that consume you mentally, physically. I mean, a lot of people I see, it ages them. I mean, you're still phically fit and you don't have grays at all. So I'm very impressed at how you were able
Asian
to.
gene.
No, you know what? I know. I mean, we know some people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're younger than you by 5, 6, 7 years, and they look like they're supposed to be in their mid 40s or 50s. I mean, they're really abusing their bodies. They're they go work hard, party hard, and they really just physically abuse their bodies. You know, with the alcohol, and they don't exercise anymore. They just say they don't have enough energy for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just surprised that you're able to do that and still be in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, it's how you handle stress, right? For me, right, I started lifting weights at 18, and then I took up yoga at 30, and I do, you know, between the two, I do 6-7 days a week of working out, you know, and part of that is to help me de-stress from, you know, all of these long hours that I'm working.
Wow. How do you not fall into that victim mindset? For you, it seems like I'm sitting here listening to you, and it's like the way your mind works is like, no, I don't play that. Like, oh, we're broke. Yeah, I don't play that. But dad's gambling and spending all this money, and you never know what's gonna happen. yeah, I don't play that. And I was like, I'm working these crazy hours, and should I drink and party with everybody? No, I don't play that. Like, and I'm not gonna get fat. Like, how do you do that? That's so, like, that's hard, man. Like, I fight the urge to do all of those things, and sometimes I lean this way, sometimes I lean that way.
Just rise above. I mean, I think I'm in the position that I'm in now because of a series of responsible decisions. Right? It's not any new wisdom. I'm not going to give you a stock tip that's going to make you, retire in 5 years. Right? It's really making good decisions and then making good decisions after that.
Is it compounding?
Exactly. Compounding.
I mean, I guess it goes back to what you were saying earlier, and I'm fascinated by that. You said you're not interested in materialism and partying and getting yourself wasted. You're more interested in learning and developing yourself, your skill set, and growing.
Yes.
And I guess that right there as a foundation is extremely powerful and goes underrated by a lot of people. And if you are really, if you're more hungry towards learning and developing yourself, and you put that as a priority above everything else, then your motivation and your ability, and as you accrue more ability, it'll just keep growing from there. I mean, is that fairly accurate?
That's absolutely true. So let me tell you, my mom at a very early age, what she said to me, right? Because we were poor, we didn't have a lot of things, but she didn't want me to be jealous of my friends. So she always said to me, this world isn't just about the accumulation of material items. I mean, she said it to me in Chinese, so I'm paraphrasing. But, she was saying, anything that you can buy can be stolen from you. But if you acquire skills, if you learn a new language, if you learn how to play an instrument, they can't steal that from you. They can kill you and,
Stop.
Right.
But they can't acquire it for themselves.
That's beautiful. So you can always, like, I get what you're saying. You can lose material, physical things, right? But your brain, your knowledge, you'll always be able to regain that.
Correct.
You did it once, you can do it again. Yeah.
Or it's like no one can take it away from you. Not
Right. Right. Somebody could rob my house, but my treasure's not there. It's in my head.
Yeah. Oh man, that's beautiful, man.
Damn,
wow.
That's a nugget.
That's a nugget, but I need to write that down. You know what? I'm gonna put
this is what happens when you retire.
You know what? I'm gonna have to get your number and call you. Like, hey, I'm gonna need some inspiration today.
Yeah. I need to be motivated.
Some new Jordans are dropping, and I'm really. No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
man. Like, so what do you do now? All this time.
I just retired, so I'm not doing anything right now. I'm trying to get my apartment rented out.
Okay.
And then my plan is to do some traveling for, 6 months a year. I'm going to Europe in March. And then when I come back, baseball season's going to start. Yep. I'm doing the all 30 baseball stadiums this summer.
Woohoo!
I'm doing a massive road trip.
Wow. I didn't know you was a big baseball fan.
I'm a huge baseball fan.
Are you a Mets fan?
I'm actually both, Yankees and Mets.
Oh, okay.
But
so the Subway Series, who are you going for?
I actually hate the Subway Series. Don't even get me started. I don't even watch.
Oh, really?
I won't even read the paper
Why?
about
It's
who
still
won.
baseball.
It's like
watching two brothers fight.
Right. I can't. I don't have a favorite.
You don't have a favorite brother.
Wow.
So I don't even I will ignore baseball for like an entire week, so that I don't even know what happened, who won, who lost. I don't care. Wow. I'll pick it up way after, and I'll be like, oh, okay, the Yankees are winning on a winning streak right now, but I don't even know whether they beat the Mets or the. To me, it didn't happen.
Wow. That's rare. I've never heard of someone passionate about two teams in the New York market. It's
every sport too.
It's usually this is why Mets is better, this is why Yankees is better, blah 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 blah. Unfortunately, I'm a Mets fan, so I got the curse of the Yets. In the New York market, it's the Nets, Mets, and Jets. I'm a Giants fan. Yeah. I'm a Giants fan, so I don't have, and I'm a Knicks fan, but the Mets. My brother, man, I'm like, when I was a little kid, I used to follow my older brother around everywhere. And I looked up to him. So every team he rooted for, I rooted for as well. So he picked the Knicks, the Giants, But damn, why couldn't he pick the Yankees? You know, like I could have experienced some joy there, some some championships.
I guess you weren't old enough for '86.
No, I wasn't a baseball fan yet. '87, I came into play, but the first year I became a Giants fan is when the Giants. First year I became a football fan with the Giants. They won the Super Bowl.
86
With
and 90.
Jeff Hostetler
Oh,
when he took
90.
over Phil Simms when
Yes.
Phil Simms got sick. I mean, not sick, injured, and saying sick because this whole coronavirus thing is like messing with my head. But yeah, it's yeah, I became a Giant, and the Knicks. You know, I still never.
Yeah,
I wasn't around in the '70s.
I never witnessed them neither. I'm older than you. I haven't seen them win.
Yeah. All right. So you're traveling, or are you? You know what? I didn't. Are you in a relationship?
I have a girlfriend. She's in the Netherlands.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I'm headed to Europe.
She's from the Netherlands.
No. She's from Hong Kong,
Okay.
but she works for Unilever for
Okay.
their global marketing team.
Right.
And right now she's positioned in the Netherlands. So
Wow.
I'm gonna head out there and visit her.
Oh, she must be so excited. Oh man, she's like, my guy's money bags. He's smart. He's fit. Now he's got all the free time, so we can hang out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Was that like the dream to kind of once you retire travel? That was like
I
At the
think
forefront?
that's everyone's dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Nobody wants to just retire and stay home.
oh no, yeah. Well, maybe like some people might think like retiring and then starting something else or.
Oh, I'm
like a
gonna do
side
that
hustle.
too. I'm still young,
Oh yeah.
right?
Tell us about your plans. I'm excited.
Well,
to hear it.
I don't really have any plans beyond traveling, but some thoughts I had is I might want to work for a nonprofit, like an environmental startup. I was thinking about maybe opening a yoga studio. I'm into yoga, so I mean, other than that, I just know I'm not chasing the dollars anymore.
Right. So you say you're really good with, and that's amazing. You say you're really good with numbers, and let's say someone who is chasing the dollars right now. Let's say someone like me, mathematically, right? Someone with 2 kids, a wife. What is the magic number for me at the very bottom? The minimum that someone like me should retire with.
Well, I'm not a financial advisor, right? I
Right,
just
just
wanna
your,
qualify.
of course, and I'm not gonna, I'll take it with a grain of
We're gonna
salt.
call you a guru on this podcast.
because I mean, you don't know my bills, my lifestyle choices, and
Correct.
my goals. But just generally, like in your shoes, like someone, yeah, what would you think?
So I read from this website called Penny Hoarder, and one of the things that they say is that if you can accumulate 20 times your annual expenses, you can retire. So, for example, if you spend $50,000 a year, right? I'm just pulling a nice even number out. If you spend $50,000 a year, and you have $1 million saved, 5% interest, which is a very safe return, gives you that 50,000. So, if you spend 50K and you have $1 million saved, you technically can retire.
Now, but is that factoring? Is that $1 million per person? Yeah, is that
Is that 50K per
Is that
person?
expenses 50,000
Yeah, that's-
total.
okay? So,
So-
that 50K is per person.
So you're
No,
Or-
if your total household expenses,
we're talking about household. Okay, yeah, it's definitely not 50K.
so if it's more than you multiply by
Definitely
20.
more.
Yeah.
right? If you whatever your annual spend is, if you
Yeah.
multiply that by 20,
Yeah.
right, that's what you need to have saved.
But saved, but also invested.
Invest, of
invested.
course, because
Yeah.
then with
You can't just put it in a bank savings account. You won't
Right.
be able to.
yeah, with inflation, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Correct.
You'll be losing
So-
money, like at a really fast rate.
But also 5% is very conservative, right?
It is.
Like the stock market, I was telling you earlier, the stock market in the last 40 years it averaged 10%, right? And inflation adjusted 7%. So if you were to just get a diverse portfolio, you can get 7%, right? Inflation adjusted. So 20 times is relatively safe. But this doesn't account for emergencies, right? Because
Right.
you know your annual spend doesn't include possible hospital bills or car repairs or whatever the case may be,
Right.
right? So you know, factoring in all of that, I mean, 20 times is relatively safe.
Okay. Now, what do you say to somebody? Because I know so many people, I mean, all around me, and I know you perhaps do as well, where they say, man, that's crazy talk, man. Like, there's no way I could save. You know, like, I get it. I spend it, man. I don't know if I'm going to be around tomorrow. You know, no, man, I'm going to spend all my money, and they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they think that job is going to be there forever. and they're willing to suck up, you know, all just the beatdown that they get, the wear and tear. They're not factoring their physical body, their mental health, and financial freedom in the future. And they're living paycheck to paycheck, or even worse, they're living off their credit cards, and their paycheck is barely keeping them afloat. It's just enough to pay minimums every month. So what do you say to that?
Well, I think a lot of people make irresponsible decisions, and they don't really understand the ramifications of those decisions, right? So the way that interest works, right, the money that you have grows, right, but also the debt that you have grows.
A lot of people don't think about that.
So what you got to try to do is get above the water, right, above the water line, and have the money working for you rather than against you. You know, so if you're spending, especially when you're young, right, if you're spending every dollar that you have, you're not allowing your money to grow. But if you are able to save money when you're young, it grows, and then the compounding effect is actually, it'll grow faster, or it'll grow more. It's going to grow at the same rate, assuming the market doesn't change, right? But as the money grows, it compounds, so it'll grow even faster. So, you know, one of the exercises that I did in finance class, right, we did imagine if you were to work for 40 years, right? So from 25 to 65, right? And every year you put away the same amount of money, let's just say $10,000, and you were to earn 7%, right? Because that's what the stock market earns. The first 10 years, from 25 to 35, the first 10 years of putting away X amount is actually worth more than the same amount put away from 35 to 65, the last 30 years, because of compounding.
Right.
I mean, you could check the math, 7%.
Absolutely. Like that's what they say with 401ks. You're putting into a 401k it in your 20s.
Yes.
It compounds so much more than when you start in your late 30s.
Correct.
Yeah,
you have to play catch up.
You have to play catch up, so you have to contribute a larger percentage.
Right.
And hopefully, you hit the cap. I mean, whatever what is it,
18.5
they raised it, right? Yeah. 18.5. I mean, you're absolutely right about that. Compound interest, especially if you're in your 20s, is so powerful.
Right.
But a lot of people in their 20s, they want to be lit.
Yep.
They gotta, the Instagram gotta look right. Their shoe game, they want to have the latest and greatest, and they're not really thinking about the 30-year-old, 40-year-old version of them when they may not have the same circle of friends to impress anymore. It's a whole different ball game when you're thinking about shit. Look, I want this house. When you not even want, I need a place to live. And I need to pay for it now. I'm totally responsible, and I can't really lean on my parents. I mean, assuming you're not a trust fund kid, you're really going to have to start planning ahead early.
Correct. Yeah. And the earlier, the better. Right.
Right.
So compounding is like a supercharger. Like
NOS
for the car.
Yeah, you want to develop these good financial habits, especially if you have kids. I mean, to all the parents listening, right? You want to get your kids started as early as possible. I mean, if you just think about the variance of savings. You could do it on a calculator online, but just look at it between the compound interest between savings in your mid-20s versus your mid-30s is exponential. Now imagine that same variance between when you're 15 and you're 25. And if your kids understand money at a young age. I mean, my daughter is 5. She understands the concept of money, that you have to pay for things, and certain things have different values. She gets it. She totally gets it. She knows how to add and subtract. She gets all that. So with that, I think from there you have to build your kids to have this foundation there, so that they can. I think it's just as important to teach your kids financial literacy,
yes,
as it is to teach them actual literacy in regards to reading and math. It's just as important, because when they go out there in the real world, if they start like us, we weren't taught that. We were taught at a very late. I didn't really get serious about money until my mid-20s. until I started getting money. I was like, wait, whoa, I got to figure out how to, I have all this debt. How do I pay my college loans back, my credit cards? All of a sudden, I started thinking, whoa, 5 years from now, 10 years, I'm going to want to get all that stuff I've been dreaming about my whole teenage life. So how do I start constructing a pathway towards that? Teaching, if I can't imagine how intelligent, how much I probably would be able to. I'm probably sitting here with a cocktail, which you go, hey, we're retired. I'm podcasting 24/7.
On a boat.
Yeah, if I learned that at a young age, oh my gosh, I think it'd be so powerful. I'll be way ahead. I think I'll be in the top, in the 5% of thinking about money. I'll just be so ahead because a lot of people just aren't that. They don't take it that seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think also some people have the mindset of like, when I die, I can't take it with me. I can take money with me, so I might as well spend it now. So like, how would you address that? People in that mindset.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. I mean, everybody has their preferences. Some people, they have their sneaker game. Some people, they the foodies, they want to go out to omakases all the time.
Oh boy,
right?
Omakase is so good though. Yeah,
no,
right.
and there's not, I get it, right? YOLO, right?
Yeah.
But it's, what do you want out of life, right? Do you want to eat well? Do you want to dress well? Do you want to retire early? You can't have everything.
Right. It's what do you prioritize?
Correct.
Right. And we just had this. We just had Amy on our podcast last week, and she's on that pathway where you are. She's a aspiring money guru, and she's got a great head on her shoulders, and I really think she'll hit her financial goals. She's very disciplined, very knowledgeable, and she said this great quote: "You can have anything, but you can't have everything." I was like, whoa, and that's exactly what you just said. I think minds that think like that are well aware where they can be happy once you accept that fact. Then you can really move forward and figure out, okay, where am I gonna spend my time and money on, and that'll still allow me to hit my financial goals. Kind of make that compromise.
Some of that is sacrificing now for future benefit.
Yeah.
Right? And I think too many people don't think like that. So last year, at the end of last year, I was diagnosed with a hereditary condition, and that was really the trigger point for me to retire. So I've had the financial means for, I would say, probably the last 3-4 years I could have retired, but I kept working because I thought, hey, I'm young. What else am I going to do? This is the prime of my earning life.
Right.
So I kept working, but then, it hit me when I got diagnosed that, hey, life's not given, right? So you got to live while you can. You got to enjoy life while you can.
Yeah, sure.
And so for me, I value free time, right? I don't value material things. I value free time, right? To do what I want to do. So, I told my boss, I'm done.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. Because most old people, if you speak to them, they regret the things that they did not do, not the things that they've done. Every old person, from my in-laws to my grandparents back in the day, and everyone that I speak to that's of age, they all tell me things that they wish they would have done with their time. They had the guts to actually pursue something. They wish they kept in touch with their friends. They wish they took that trip when they were young, when they had all this energy, right? They wish that they allowed themselves to be more happy. And they also wish that they appreciated their health more and the way they look. They always beat themselves up like they weren't good enough. And then when they look at older pictures of them, they're like, man, I was so beautiful. I was good looking. I was handsome. I was beautiful. And they couldn't appreciate it at that time. And when they lose it, then they're like, oh man, well, I was so dumb. Look at this. I was such a beautiful kid, So and I take so many lessons from. That's why I love talking to older people, because I really get to pick their brains or people that's just ahead of me in the game, right? And they've been down that road already, and I get to listen to them and pick their brain and go, oh fuck, that's what's coming, and I'm like, you know what, yeah, and I can extrapolate that information and kind of put a mirror to myself and really look at it and go, you know what, Will, shit really ain't that serious, man. It ain't that bad. You got it good, you know, like, and I can really just allow myself to be happy and go, you know what? Yeah, this is kind of cool. This is kind of dope where I'm at right now. And I'm on my way there. And when I do get there, I want to be able to reflect and go, yeah, I did it right, man. Like, I don't have regrets. A lot of people say, yeah, I got no regrets. I look in their eyes, I'm like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Keep telling yourself that. But yes, you do. There's a lot of things you fucked up on. Same with me. I have several regrets, right? But moving forward, I'm doing as much as I can to minimize it, right? As I'm trying to be happy,
That's
positive, and just do things that are good for me, healthy, mentally, physically. And then at times, I'll do things that aren't that healthy. I'll have that drink. I'll have that pizza. I'll have that
Sure,
burger.
you gotta live.
I gotta live. But one of those things hopefully won't kill me, And but the accumulation, like you said, it's the bottom line. I'm still able to be in the positive at the end of the day, and that's what I appreciate. And that just has so much value. And I wonder what I would do when it's my day to hang up the cleats. I don't know.
How would you do it? Like, can you imagine? Like, what would you say to your boss?
Oh, I love my peers that I work with, the whole team. Like, I've been very fortunate to kind of navigate myself in everything that I do, where I'm blessed with. I enjoy everyone I work with. Now, it's not perfect. I mean, there's ups and downs, but the pros certainly outweigh the cons. And I don't wake up dreading what I do. Like, from Sunday through Saturday, I whatever I got to do, I do it, and it doesn't feel like it's pulling teeth, So I'm okay. I'm pretty happy there. Like, from my family, I'm very happy. With my kids, I love when they come ask me questions and play with me. I mean, I love all that. It's what I signed up for, right? My 9 to 5, I signed up for that too. I love it. I embrace it wholeheartedly. And in this podcast and any film thing that I do, I put myself in those positions, to enjoy all of that. And all of it, it's not going to be sexy all the time. It's a lot of hard work. Sometimes you get beat up a little bit too, whatever it is, like in filmmaking, it's like eating a shit sandwich every single time, but you do
Is
it
that
because
a Martin Scorsese quote or something?
no, it's who's that director? Del Toro. What's his name?
Del Toro.
The guy. Yeah.
Benicio del Toro. That's an actor.
Yeah.
No. Oh, fuck. I apologize to the director. He's the one that's.
Give me a movie.
All right. He did that movie with all those monsters, with the mermaid monster kind of thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
It's killing me now.
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, him.
Yeah.
And he did also like this cartoon series on
Did
Netflix.
Hellboy.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo
del Toro.
Del
Yes.
Toro. I was right. Del
Got
Toro.
it.
I was the Guillermo
Guillermo.
del Toro. He's the one that said it. I was watching his interview and he said, every time you make a film, you're eating a shit sandwich. And I shared that quote with Norm back in the day, and we're like, yeah,
So true.
it's so true, right?
So true.
You
Very
really
stressful.
are. It's super stressful, but we put ourselves in that position. Like, we made the film. Like, we casted everyone, and we're going through, and we're like, damn, we got to eat this shit sandwich. But at the end of the day, it's like it's our shit sandwich.
Yeah, it is a shit sandwich, but then when you see the final product with everything's done with post production, it becomes something original. It becomes something that you didn't think when you started the project. It becomes something on its own, and it's beautiful, and it's almost perfect. It's perfect, but imperfect at the same time. I guess I don't know if
It's
that makes
it's
sense.
the journey, right? And it's not perfect all the time, but it's what we want to do. It's like, what do you want to go through, right? And I like life with its ups and downs and challenges. I accept those. I mean, I know what I'm getting. Just like if you play sports, if you play baseball, you're not going to win every game. There's a chance you might get injured. Your team might lose. There may be errors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And things happen, man. But at the end of the day, you're playing the sport you love.
Right.
You know what I mean? You might get hit by a pitch, and that's gonna suck. And then, but at the end of the day, it's like you rather get hit with a baseball than being sitting in front of a desk all day.
Absolutely.
Right. So It's a shit you sign up for. And getting hit by a baseball hurts a lot more physically, but mentally, not as much as sitting in front of a desk all day. If you hate it, that's not your grind. That really sucks. So we were talking earlier before we got in here. You were like, you totally subscribe to some of the things, and I know you're not too deep into it, but you were like, yeah, I believe in crop circles and all that. I was like, wait, what? I was like, so you really think that crop circles are like a thing?
Well,
It's extraterrestrial. It's not man-made.
the things that I read about it,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't seem plausible that it was made by man.
Wow, like
And you're-
how? So can you elaborate?
Because you're logical and you're math-based.
Yeah, you're so
it's-
logical. So it's not like
interesting.
it's not like this guy's crazy.
So it's, like one of the things is that for those crop circles, the corn or whatever it's
Right.
in, it's broken, but the plants are still alive,
Right.
and then they've been ionized.
Okay.
So it's like what? It couldn't have been done by a man. I mean, we don't have that capability.
Right. Well, I guess a skeptic will argue is that they have a board and they have a string and they step on it and then look, I can put all these crops down and in the field and make any design I want.
And so just for people who don't are not scientific, what does what does it mean by it's ionized? So it cannot be done by someone who's like putting a board.
It was done by energy.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
It was done by energy.
And
It
they
was-
say they to
like a
support your
laser or
argument,
something.
also they said that there's a little like they actually, and this is like they recorded balls of light after the fact. Like there's little floating balls of light
Just right above the crop circle or
around
right in
there.
the
Yeah,
sky?
and there's like some people's batteries go dead. So to support the whole ionized theory that there's energy there. There's a energy wave there, and that's why they feel like maybe something did cause that. But then like the way I'm thinking, it's like why? Let's just use common sense here for a second. Let's take a step back and go. Why the fuck would someone come down here and fuck with us and just want to draw some like symbol or mathematical symbol or whatever it is and just show it to us? Why don't they just go, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, you want to see something? Look at me. Like
they might not
I
be
look
able to
different
speak
from you.
our language. Maybe symbols are based off.
So you think it's like
sign language?
it may be like interdimensional where we just don't have the sense?
Yeah. I mean,
Like, for example, we don't have ears, we can't hear sound.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying like we may be missing a certain sense to communicate with them. So the only way they communicate with us is by making.
Well, yeah, I think it's a different way of communication. So they could either, they can't they can't make sound, and they're trying to communicate in a different way.
Well, math is the universal language, they say.
Right.
And all of these crop circles are mathematical formulas or
Right.
I mean, I don't understand them, right? But,
Right.
but when you hear when you read about some of
Mathematicians
them,
look at it, they're like, no, that's actually a formula.
right,
Yeah.
right. So, and there's theories. There's a lot of theories out there about why aliens have come here and dropped these crop circles, but they don't tell us. They don't reveal their presence, right? And one of them is there was one crop circle where there was an encoded message, and it basically said that mankind is being oppressed,
What?
right?
Wow.
It's crazy.
I gotta look this up.
There's a crop circle where
You mean
it's
oppressed like knowledge wise? Like they're not.
like there's a group of elite humans who repress the
Low
the rest
class
of us,
or, yeah.
Right.
right, for their own gain.
Oh, so it's kind of like Men in Black, like, but not the
No,
evil side,
no.
but just
They're like think of them as the Illuminati.
no.
Right?
Come on, really?
I mean, I'm not saying I believe that per se.
Okay, but no, but
But that's one of the
what
theories.
there was a crop circle that's basically saying there's an elite form, there's elite group, elite society that's controlling us, that's limiting information
Correct.
to us, and they want to keep us, I guess, in the dark so that we don't have the shared power.
Well, I mean, like you're saying that the crop circle says humans are being oppressed, and then we take it as human beings to decipher what that message means. Or you're saying like there's an actual crop circle that says all
So-
this.
so-
like, this
It's
is-
a decoded message.
So what's tricky is that the crop circle is it's if you read it from the inside out in blocks of 8, which is ASCII, right? If you know anything about computers, bits and bytes, right? It's written in ASCII. And if you translate each byte into a letter, it translates to an English message that basically says that we're being oppressed.
Sort of like Morse code, but visual.
Kind of,
Yeah,
yes.
Morse code.
That's insane.
It is totally insane.
That's crazy.
And when you look at that,
so it's just
image-
ones and zeros?
basically ones and zeros, but crops being there and crops being not being there, or bent, or whatever you call
What
it.
the fuck?
Yeah, it's amazing. If you look at the crop circle, it like from the sky, it's an alien holding a disc, and the disc has this
All right,
message in it.
I'll play along. All right?
Is
Let's
this
just
a
say
really
that.
famous crop circle.
It is.
Okay.
Let's. All right, I'll play along. Let's just say that could very possibly be true. Why the fuck would the alien be interested in telling us this anyway?
There's theories behind that too.
Yeah,
Right.
I want to know, like, but why? Like, why?
Maybe for scientific exploration purposes, they want to, they want to educate us. Like they want to expand knowledge throughout the universe.
Or maybe they're not like aliens at all. They're future human beings trying to warn us
Possibility.
future. What
Oh
might
shit,
happen.
that
Yeah.
one sounds
Like Terminator.
interesting.
Don't go towards AI. This is gonna kill you. All right.
It might be Elon Musk in the future.
Exactly.
And Elon just came back like, "Hey guys,
I wouldn't put that past him being able to do that.
bro, Elon Musk is so next level."
Yeah. to create a synthetic mind, like transfer your mind, your being, your intellect into I guess like a artificial being, and being able to live forever. I think he's very capable of that.
Elon Musk?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if he's
Musk.
capable of that, I mean, then I'd put Bill Gates up there with him.
But I don't think Bill Gates has that pursuit of trying to do that. I think
How do you know that?
I don't. But then
I think if Bill Gates really wanted to, I mean,
Well-
he put a team together. I mean, he's
Well, yeah.
excellent at
But
doing
all the
that.
public stuff that he's been doing hasn't really gone towards that. But then the stuff that Elon's done, like trying to expand into a different space so that he can colonize Mars,
underground tunnels.
yeah, underground tunnels, all of that kind of moves towards the next evolution of man. I think what he's doing.
Oh, for sure. But
Yeah.
what Bill Gates is
He's
also
he's making toilets.
he's you're so obsessed with that. But he's trying to get third world countries, caught up.
True. Yeah.
That's a noble pursuit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing what he's trying to do. Wait, so all right, let's go back to crop circles. Wait, so all right, so let's just say it is a futurized. I mean, like how would they be able to? If it is futurized, why don't they just drop and like come back? Like you see in those movies, like, hey, I'm you, and this is what you need to stop. Like, why would they tell us in the form of a crop circle? Like, that's really going to make a difference. I don't think that'll have. I think that'll more have. I think something like that, a crop circle, will have more of an impact for. Oh wow, and then it'll stop there. That's as far as it's going to go in terms of a large society. That's in the way we all think collectively. I don't think they're going to start like it's going to get strong and get picked up like Black Lives Matter or Me Too, right? If there's a crop circle, we're just going to be like, wow, that's okay.
Yeah, but people are actually like Kenny said, like they're actually deciphering it. So there are people going to be like
Sure.
amazed, but there are going to people be.
But
like,
I think
we have
that's
to
as
look
far as
into-
they're going to drill down. They're going to come up with all these theories that you can't prove scientifically, and no scientist or anyone with a degree is really going to like double down on this because they're gonna look crazy. They're going to risk their reputation and their credibility, right? So it's up to like normal people like us, right? So and then like no one's going to listen to normal because it's so easily to dismiss us because we're not experts on that subject matter, right?
Well-
So it's just like, oh, these guys just
You
coming
have
up with
you
some
have-
crazy ideas.
You have prominent scientists that say there are extraterrestrial life. There's no way that we're
Not
alone.
intelligent.
So
They're admitting that the possibility, I mean, with the Drake equation, that there has to be some form of life out there outside of Earth, but they're not saying there's with the
Like
absolute,
us, like intelligent wise,
like Neil Tyson, like he's not going, or Michio Kaku, like, and he's a theoretical physicist. I've never heard them say absolutely there's definitely life. They either speak in a context of what if or hell no.
That's the impression I got. So I gotta go back. I mean that's
That
the
what?
impression that they believe that there's intelligent life out there.
Mm,
When I watch their videos, that's the impression I got.
no way, it's the opposite. For Neil Tyson deGrasse, he is strongly against it.
Yeah.
Like because he's a scientist, so he's supposed to he goes through, or or his colleagues will only go through what they can actually test and confirm. They're not going to entertain something like that and go, yeah, there's freaking aliens and we're hanging out and all this. Like they're not, when you come with, if you're talking about theories, then they'll say, yeah, there could be different civilizations that are light years ahead of us and they may exist. They'll speak to that notion, but they will not say absolutely confirmation that crop circle definitely aliens. They're not. You won't see them on Ancient Aliens on the History Channel.
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's
definitely not.
that's not happening. That's not happening. Okay, let's just get out the way. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want to believe.
So one interesting theory I heard is that these crop circles are actually formulas for unlimited energy.
Ooh.
And the reason that they're being suppressed is, energy is fossil
Power
fuels,
control.
right?
Yeah.
All of these ancient industries, right? There's billionaires that control them, and
Right.
it's in their best interest to suppress these technologies.
Right.
So, I mean, that's very plausible to me.
Yeah. So things like energy, water, it's all major corporations. Internet connections. I've actually heard. I read somewhere that somewhere in Hawaii they're actually trying to localize the internet, where people who want to start up a internet or broadband company can do it on their own.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not leaving it up to the big corporations. I mean, I've heard of people getting arrested or getting citations if they wanted to just kind of go off the grid and do their own thing in terms of energy, and they're not
They're
following.
being suppressed, or they're limiting their ability to do so.
Right. If they're creating their own water channels is illegal. Like there's a lot of things that the law won't allow you to kind of be a nomad on your own. And if you're very efficient in building that type of lifestyle for yourself independently, I think there's some laws, depending on the state, that will not allow you to do so.
The potential unlimited energy, and it's free for everyone. Third world country, and not having to pay for it to live. I mean, that's, yeah, like you said, they'll destroy monopolies, destroy like corporations.
It'll destroy the economy as we know it.
Right.
And that is the incentive.
Right. I think it's dangerous. I actually think it's dangerous if just from a financial sense, I totally get it. And a corporate interest, I also get that. But if we're able to harness, if we find out a code to harness energy like that, just think of it, we'd be able to make our own bombs using that energy.
True.
And energy, like, just if we are able to contain a certain amount of energy within some type of capsule, right? Let's say that's shared technology, and then what's the next evolution of that, right? It's to weaponize it, right? And if you can weaponize that type of energy locally, holy shit. So I think maybe there's a higher reason. The person with the biggest stick makes the rules. Now, if you got a whole bunch of crazy motherfuckers, instead of shooting bullets at each other, they're throwing freaking energy bombs at each other or energy blast. And, as soon as it hits you, your whole shit explodes. I mean, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's like
It's true.
human nature. You have the people who, they want to create this utopia, but then you have people who want to create this dystopia, and who's gonna come on top, right? So with this type of ability to harness energy, like we said, it's scary. It's scary.
Our civilization's not ready for it.
Yeah,
Absolutely not. I don't think
We
I
need
don't
to
think
evolve.
culturally as a species we're there yet. I mean, we're still very violent.
Still
We're still
very
just imagine if I try to look at it like, let's take a step back And if we were observing like the way we observe ants when they're like going to war with each other, ant wars, right? I look it up on YouTube sometimes, and I find it so fascinating, and I think to myself like, holy shit, like what if we're able to, like if I'm an alien and I'm able to look at humans like that, right? Like the way I look at the ants fight, and I'm like, man, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Yep.
These guys are fucking crazy the
And
way they go at each
and
other.
you're enjoying it.
I would, right? I would.
So imagine aliens enjoying.
But that's because
us,
I'm
like-
human, right? There's somewhere in like inside of me that just kind of, it. Not that I like war, but it's just I can't take my eyes off it. You know, when I see like a fight, you know, like I'm just like, whoa. For some whatever reason in my human thing, like it just, I see a fight and I'm like, whoa. Like if I see Mike Tyson, Conor McGregor, you know, Khabib, like whoever, like just, you know, like Tyson, what's the new Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, just watching them face off, I was like, ooh, you know, there's just something, I don't know what it is. I guess it's part of being human. It's fascinating.
We're all animals.
Yeah.
So do you think aliens are the reason why they're putting this formula out there is to see who can create the most craziest, deadliest bomb and see who wins? And basically we're the
No.
humans like that.
Hell
We're
no.
watching. They're waiting for that big, you know, fight. You know, that big fight.
Nah, man, because if we all have that weapon, we're going to blow each other up. And then there goes their reality TV show. You know what I mean? Like I think, I mean, we're talking crazy here, but I think we're playing along, right? Like, let's say this is all true. I think that if they're doing it, it's more like, it's like the hippie aliens where they're like, no, man, they can do it. Like, they can move forward with this, man. Stop suppressing them. You know, down with the corporations, man. So it might be the hippie aliens going like, hey, let them have their freedom. Let them have their energy. I if I had to guess, I'm like,
That's interesting.
I mean, that's my little human brain, you know.
I think it's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation, right? The reason that there's so much conflict is because there's limited resources. So we fight for those limited resources, right? If there was unlimited resources, free energy, there's no need to fight anymore. But
We'll find something else to fight on. We fight about religion. That has nothing to do with resources. That's everything to do with power and control.
I think they're trying to educate us to evolve us to a point where we can be more civil to each other and maybe eventually contribute to, you know, the
universe.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just the world.
I would love to see that happen, but that's not happening in our lifetime.
No, it's not. It's definitely not happening in our lifetimes.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see that, man. Just kumbaya shit. I mean, that would be incredible.
I think if aliens wanted to invade us, if they wanted to blow us up, they're so much more technologically evolved. They could do it in, you know, like we can just crush an anthill.
Right.
Right. So there's no incentive for them to, I mean, maybe entertainment, I guess, but there's no incentive for them to harm us.
we could be something that they created.
That's possible too.
It could be something they created. I mean, I also find that fascinating.
But if that's the case, then we're their children. Why would they want to harm us?
I didn't say that they're trying to harm us.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, I was supporting your argument that they may not want to harm us, and that maybe a whole bunch of UFO sightings come about when we start nuking each other and start bombing each other and we start warring. That's when a lot of people have UFO sightings. Again, that could just be like, that could just be like secret technology that we haven't, you know, or governments that didn't have. And like, oh, you want to play around? Well, check out this fucking plane that we got, baby. You know, so and they're like, oh shit, I seen some weird, like the stealth fighter.
Yeah.
Everybody thought
It was a UFO, yeah, but it wasn't really a UFO. It was it was a government.
right. But what about the thing?
plane.
Most recently, I saw that Colonel. Fuck, I'm gonna butcher this story. I saw him on. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was on Fox News, and he's like this experienced, well-respected military guy, and he was like, man, they captured a UFO, and I think it was in the early 2000s, right on camera, and he was like, you know, there's nothing that he's aware of that can move like that at all with that type of technology. It was the way it was moving, and it was following them, and you know, it was like, it's not like a refraction of the sun, and it wasn't like another planet. Like, it was something.
Wait, he was saying that they captured like a
No, not
UFO?
the capture. It was tailing them. Was fucking with them.
Oh, okay.
They
So
had,
he was
they had
fine.
it on the screen, and every time they moved it, like they moved a certain way, they caught up.
Yeah.
They just able to move like in a weird. It was like tic tac shape, and it was able to just maneuver in ways that like physics would not allow us, as we know it, any type of vehicle to do that in the air.
And he was like speaking to people in the Pentagon and saying like, "Are you guys experimenting
It
with
was just
something?"
bazonkers.
Wow.
It was just bazonkers, yeah. And like, come on, look at all of these sightings and people coming forward. You can't just dismiss everybody as crazy. It's got to be something. I'm not saying that it's UFOs in terms of aliens, but it's got to be something that's
not normal.
yeah. Whatever it may be, it's got to be something, and I think it's something that we should look into and we should pay attention to. Unless it's not, unless it's for our own safety, and it's like, what was that? That show, Brian Orwell, like War of the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 60s, he read a book. Orson Welles, yeah. He read the book War of the Worlds, and before TV was popular, radio was a big thing, right? So people would get together and listen to the radio, and radio, the ratings were through the roof because that's what everyone listened to. They sat around home. That's what they did. They sat around listening to it, and at the very beginning, he goes, I'm going to read a book, War of the Worlds, blah, blah, blah. This is CBS, whatever it is, right? And then he went on to read it. But some people that didn't tune in at 7 o'clock, let's just say he started at 6 p.m., whatever. Some people tuned in at like 6:15, and all they hear is this guy's voice who sounds like a freaking newscaster. And there's aliens coming down right now. There's missiles blasting. There's cars up. So people thought that it was an alien invasion. They started fucking going nuts. Cars were flipped over, rioting, looting supermarkets. Like shit was fucked up. And
Panic mode.
Total panic mode. So I could understand why governments want to suppress whatever information, because people are fucking crazy. Like once we go into survival mode, we're all thinking, oh shit, me, I have to survive. My family needs to survive. We all start thinking about ourselves. We don't care who we run over, who we shoot, who we kill. It's full survival, man. It's every man for themselves. And when you hear something like, oh, the tentacles are picking up humans and it looks like they're using the blood as fuel, it's just like, what the fuck? Everyone's going crazy. And at that time, there wasn't Google. Like, it sounds crazy to us hearing something like that. Mm-hmm. But at that time, people just didn't have as much information. Sure. So when they heard something on the radio, they took it as gospel, right? So without that debriefing, they didn't get that prerequisite information where they go, hey, this is not real. This is a fiction book we're about to read. People thought this shit was real, and they started hurting each other. Cars were on fire. I mean, crazy. So that was like, if you want to look at it from that standpoint, if I'm a government agency, I'm looking at it like, we can't let people know. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. We got to protect these people from themselves. We can't give them all this information. We have to fight. And I bet you, I have no doubt that they're doing this, where they're fighting a lot of these fights without, they're doing some Jack Bauer shit we never even heard about,
Yeah. Clandestine operations.
Absolutely.
They do it all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we don't know about, and I think it's for our own good. Because imagine if everything gets exposed 24/7, where we're that transparent, people be shitting themselves. They just won't be able to, they'll be in complete panic 24/7.
I can imagine a lot of people would quit their jobs, and the society would shut down.
Absolutely. Economic markets, every single time a news come up, people start pulling the money out from the stock market. I mean, banks. I mean, oh my gosh, yeah, society will stop moving, man. People will start looting. I mean, it'll just be complete and utter chaos.
Yeah.
So we have to, we have to put on the best face. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
We won't be able to handle that information.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Would you want a world where it was that transparent? Do you think us as a species can handle it? Do you disagree with that type of method? If that is in fact what's going on? If you were in charge, would you say let's let every single one of our citizens know exactly what is going on here? Full transparency, declassify everything.
No, I think human nature, you can't trust it. I mean, it's so unpredictable that people react differently to different situations. But I do agree, like certain things that the government does hide that the public should know about?
Well, I think that the truth should be out there. I mean, there might be initial chaos, but eventually some form of order will be restored. It might not be the order that we currently recognize, but something will evolve out of it, and it'll just be a new way of living.
At what cost, though? How many lives would be taken?
I would argue, who cares?
Really? Really? So you would say the truth is worth the cost, no matter if it's expensive or.
Sure, because how else are we going to always live in a box?
Interesting. So you would accept like a whole new world order.
What's so great about the one that we live in? What's so irreplaceable about it?
Well, I have a lot of reasons what's like so great that we live in right now. You know, we have the freedom. We have.
But who says that won't be on the other end of?
We'll be in the rebuilding phase. You know, we have a freedom. So many people paved the way for us. Mm-hmm. It's not a perfect system, man. It's not a perfect system, but it's the one we got, and it's the devil we know, right? And we're not in the beginning phases of it. We're in a very mature market, and we're at we're not Singapore, but we're pretty up there. I mean, yeah, I know we're behind on healthcare and whatnot, but I mean, to start a whole new civilization, I think it'll just set us back like at the very beginning.
Sure, and I agree. Yeah, in the beginning.
I don't want to be that civilization living through that. Maybe like our great grandkids will appreciate that.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Right, the future.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, our generation, whichever generation,
it's going to suffer.
It's going to suffer.
Yeah.
But the end result, if it's a better society, isn't that worth it?
No, not for me now. I don't want my kids.
That's
I don't want my kids suffering.
Generations down.
And look,
and that's why the information is repressed.
The first half of my life, I suffered so damn much. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm not down to replay that. I'm not trying to revisit war and no, man.
So short-term discomfort for long-term gain. That this goes back to early retirement.
But this goes to. What do you mean? You wouldn't even enjoy your retirement?
No, and I don't mind that.
Right.
Again, it's short-term discomfort for long-term gain. If we wind up with a better society,
anything. As humans,
me personally, I would not.
So you're willing to sacrifice yourself?
Sure.
Wow, you're on some like ant shit then. Like you're sacrificed for the colony.
I just think we overvalue our own personal lives and don't think about the future. That's what. Okay. That's why the environment is the way it is.
That. I agree. We could blame that on the boomers. You're a boomer.
No, I think people are very short-sighted, right? They just care about their comfort or their what transpires in their lifetime. What about? I mean, I don't even have kids, and I think like this.
Right. You're absolutely right, and I even see that with the newer generation, where they care more about themselves. They're very
self-centered,
egocentric,
yeah.
And it's scary because like I mean I've seen so many different levels of and I hate to classify a whole generation, but just in general, right? We're speaking generalities. And when I see the younger kids in this generation, a lot of them are just, what's important to them was very different from what was important to us growing up. And the way they look at themselves. And it's also because of technology. I think technology plays a big role in the way kids behave these days, even adults. But kids especially because they grew up in an age where they're smothered with technology, where we weren't. It was very analog, and everything they have and everything they experience is digitized from the way they. I mean, my kids are, they're learning with an iPad, and with school and headphones, and we didn't have that. It was just paperbacks. So they're immediately you're always glued to it somehow, and I feel like it just kind of makes you look at yourself all the time, and you're thinking about yourself all the time, and the narcissism and the low self-esteem, and I don't think it's healthy. I don't think that's healthy right now.
And you know what they always say, like instant gratification. All these young people now, they can't wait. They have no patience.
Right, and if you're just talking from a scientific view, like if you're constantly getting these dopamine hits at a young age like that,
Mm-hmm.
when you get older, you'll be so much more numb to these dopamine hits that you'll need it on such a macro scale in order to feel that same happiness.
Mm-hmm.
That's dangerous. That's so dangerous. You mean like, you like that little shot won't do it for you anymore. You need, even if it's something great that's happening in your life, you can't even really embrace that because the dopamine in your head is not
It's
really
not the same level.
It's not the same
Yeah.
level. It's not allowing you to be that happy because you've been feeling those same hits since you was a kid.
Mm.
You know, it's like cocaine. You know, it's dopamine hits. So you've been getting those hits of dopamine since you was a freaking kid on that level, that instant gratification, and you want that dopamine now. I mean, we live in that society,
Yeah.
and I find it dangerous, absolutely, and I think that's why kids in this generation are the way they are, and I'm worried. I'm worried as a society as a whole. I'm absolutely worried about that. But I control what I can control, and you know what I'm
Sure.
aware of it. So I just try to navigate it the best I can. And there's no playbook for this because I don't. You know, my parents didn't teach me about that, right? They didn't have to deal with that growing up, right? We're the first ones out the gate, you know, that are going to have children has to deal with this. So we have to parent a bit differently. It was really refreshing to get your take on retirement and crop circles. I did not expect the crop circle, you know, but when we were walking in, I was like, man, I want to touch on that because, you know, I want to hear new stuff. You know, I'm always fascinated with science fiction. And, you know, then we went all over the place with that, but that was awesome. Thank you, man. And I wish you the best of luck on your retirement.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. And you know what? Yeah, I'm telling you, I'll be reaching out to you sometime when I need
Absolutely.
some,
Some nuggets of knowledge.
yeah, man. I mean, you've done it. I mean, you proved it with your actions. A lot of people say it, but you actually did it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So beautiful stuff. So Kenny, you everybody, you have Instagram?
I do.
Are you on private or?
No, I think I'm on public.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know it.
We'll put it in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show
You know,
notes.
we'll have people, you know, reach out to you, bombard you
Yeah.
for
Thank you, folks,
advice.
for listening to the Lucky Boys podcast, and catch us on the next one.
All right. See you guys later.